Hello brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the most gothic of all of my gothic videos so far today. I am broadcasting today from my parents' 195-year-old house in central New England. Now this house was built in 1827 and was in a Methodist church. Yes, I was raised in a converted church. And in 1850 it was converted into a family dwelling. This house has an amazing history to it. So much so that we actually know all the people who have lived here and the stories contained therefore within. Now I cannot show you all of the house, but I will show you quite a few of the features of its curiosities and wonders. I truly hope that you will enjoy this very special episode of Gothically Yours, Professor M. Join me. Now that I have your complete and undivided attention, I will share with you a little bit of the history of the house. For I had originally shared with you in 1827, it was built in 1850, was converted into a home. However, what happened in 1860 is a little more interesting. Just outside the walls of this converted dwelling was the Industrial Revolution going on in America, and 3 cotton mills were industrially producing some of the finest fabric in the United States. Benjamin Church and his wife Susanna and 2 children, Mary and Jane, decided in 1860 they wanted to convert the dwelling into a boarding house. Many hundreds of people came to live here. He converted the house from just a few bedrooms into a 7-bedroom, 1-bathroom and kitchen dwelling. How interesting. We actually have the list and the manifests of all the people that lived here. You can imagine their stories. One day, Benjamin Church's wife had died, and he remarried. And he remarried into another family within the town. His grandson came to live here, and mysteriously, at the age of 25, died. We're not sure exactly if he died of St. Vitus' dance or possibly poisoning from hay spores, because it was a field across the street. It was the time of the Victorian morning, and if anyone knows by tuning into my channel, it's one of the things that I revel in. How romantic. Let's go on with the rest of our story. And one of the most unique and welcoming aspects. Can you hear the ravens in the back? The house is filled with them, especially outside. The most interesting aspect of this house is the fieldstone fireplace. Now the legend has it that the family that installed this traveled all over the United States, and everywhere they had gone, they had chosen one stone to create a memory of that travel. All the stones were then put together like a jigsaw puzzle. Now we do know for a fact where this one is from. However, I'll keep that a secret. What's more interestingly, I need to show you something secret above the fireplace. I love this fireplace. And a very interesting aspect of the house is this. Now here is that large timber on the top of the fireplace. This was accidentally found, I believe, by my maternal grandfather while during the renovation of the house. If you run your hand very carefully across, you notice it's just a wall. Now you've got to be very careful because this is Vermont pine board and your hands will be filled with slivers. However, a secret door was discovered. There. Interesting, isn't it? You may ask yourself, what's inside of it? Nothing. What is its purpose? We don't know. Why is it there? Still a mystery. Very interesting aspect of the house, isn't it? So let's go on to see something more interesting. I think our Goth sister, Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, would have enjoyed this. Now I wanted to share this interesting curiosity, which has been in my homestead for generations. I know what some of you are going to say, what a beautiful round table it is. Yes, it would make the most perfect seance table. This table belonged to my great-great-aunt Gladys on my mother's side. Could you imagine people holding hands around this? That pales in comparison to what is behind me, right here. This is not a closet door at all, but it is a secret passageway which leads into the living room. Are you ready to explore with me? Watch this. Follow me. And comes out this door. Quite interestingly enough, this hallway also has the original pew marks in it from the church. I want to show you. Along with the square nails, you will find these two objects in our hallway. These are two pew marks from the original church and shows the direction of which the benches were laid. Now behind this door is the basement. That is a direct drop if you were to drop your leg in there. Be very careful. This looks like it's right out of Tales of the Crypt. This stairway is over a century plus old, and I must be very careful. As we exit down on the right hand side, you will see horsehair plaster, original horsehair plaster. There's horsehair a century and a half old when they first originally put up here, and the beams which hold up the house. Everything is hand-hewed. The floors, the ceiling, and all of the cobwebs that you're seeing in front of you here is creepy as all get out. I hope that you can see that these timbers were hewn with an object tool called an adze 190 plus years ago. If you're wondering what you're looking at, it's called dry rot. It's an exquisite place to be if you're a goth. The original electrical work to the house still remains. Foundations laid by those who come before us. A unique curve to the foundation of the fireplace in which that the ashes were collected there. Another wonderful and unique aspect of this house is this stairwell built in 1850. Now what makes it so interesting that you cannot see above me is an 18-foot portico, which creates an echo when spoken loudly. Why it's there, we do not know. However, even more interestingly, just above the camera is a space 6 feet by 5 feet by 18 feet. It is unusable area of the house, completely encased, no doors, no windows whatsoever. Why it's been encased, we still don't have a reason for that. However, I have something very interesting to show you at the top of the stairs. Follow me. And at the top of the stairs you would find this, a 2.5 foot by 2.5 foot crawl space that leads up to the attic. Now, strangely enough, that during the renovation, my father had actually gone up there to discover that there was a trunk. He opened it and it was empty. Who did it belong to? Who was the last person to leave it there? And why was it there? We still don't know to this day. However, even though it was empty, it had a mystery surrounding it. How did it ever get up there? For the size of the trunk was 3.5 by 4 feet by 3 feet. Remember the size that I mentioned, 2.5 by 2.5. Strange, isn't it? Why it's up there, who left it, and how they ever got it up there remains a mystery to this day. Do you like my mother's wallpaper? Stimulating, isn't it? Continuing on with the house history, we go in from the 1860s to 1865, from the end of the Civil War. The house stood up very nicely, and the churches then passed it on to a relative by the name of Thompson. Thompsons then had it in the house for many generations, and then finally passed on to 4 more families, which one of them had built the fireplace in the center of the house. I love this house. You never feel like you're alone. I wanted to share this curiosity with you. This is the original stepping stone to the church entranceway to the front door. A unique piece of pottery that has been with us for a long, long time. However, I want to show you something very unique. Look very carefully at the horsemen and the witches following him. Now, after showing you that beautiful piece of pottery, I want to show you this. It's a broom which takes center stage in our house, and it belongs to one of my family members. Don't get any funny ideas. Beautiful. I do not know its origin or how old it is. However, how does that song go again? Ride with the moon in the dead of night. And to enter the worship room of this house, this beautiful latchkey handle. Now, another interesting factor about this house, there's not a single level floor in the entire dwelling. So much so that I'm going to demonstrate now with a Coca-Cola can to show you how it rolls across every single floor, starting with the kitchen, moving into the living room, and then a bathroom. Let's try this in the kitchen. And of course, the bathroom floor. Now, while growing up, many of my friends who've ever come over here have always asked that one particular question. Anything paranormal ever happened in this house? I guess I will leave that for another video. My, look at the time. Time to say goodbye. I hope that you've enjoyed this very special episode. And as always, gothically yours, Professor M.